Hi and welcome back to another recording on Purposeful Platforms, and today I'm going to continue on the series entitled The People Who Are Most Likely to Make One Feel Unworthy. The people who are most likely to make one feel unworthy, and today is part 4 on the series. In part 1 I spoke about family members as the most likely people to make one feel unworthy. In part 2 I spoke about the church leaders as the people who are likely to make one feel unworthy. In part 3 I spoke about the teachers, and in this series I'm going to talk about superiors, the supervisors, the bosses at work. It doesn't matter what you work as, you have someone who is superior to you. It doesn't matter whether you own a company or you are a boss to a domestic worker. There are ways that we have to relate with our employees, and there are ways as employees to respond when you feel that you're being abused. Because like I said in the other videos, making any person feel unworthy is actually abuse. It's just that sometimes we avoid using the word abuse, but it needs to be spoken about. So it is not right to make someone feel unworthy. The ways that you can make someone unworthy is not valuing them, not valuing what they have to bring to the table, not valuing their opinions. If someone is working for you, you've hired them because you needed their help. So accept every help they can give you. Learn to listen. You may not implement what they're telling you, but you can listen to them because it is important. There are parents who are leaving their children in the care of domestic workers, but they do not want to listen to the domestic workers when they tell them. They just ignore and dismiss them that you don't know anything. Why do you consider your domestic worker that they don't know anything? If they don't know anything, why are you so sure and so confident to leave your children with someone who doesn't know anything? Let me just tell you that domestic worker of yours knows a lot. They are in contact with your children probably for the greater part of the day than you do. In the workplace, listen to the people that you have hired to work for you. Do not just dismiss them or hold on to your old way of doing things. The old way of doing things may not be compatible in this generation, in this day. So allow people that you have hired to work for you, to give you what they have to offer. Do not just dismiss everything. And by dismissing everything, you're just making them feel unworthy. So what was the point of hiring them? You hired them so that you can make them feel unworthy. You hired someone to demean them. And if you're in that situation, you've tried all that you could to get help, and help is not coming. Move on. Find somewhere to go. It may take time, but you'll still be sane. You still have your confidence. There's no point in sticking around for a very long time with a boss who is always putting you down. It's not worth it. Possibly make one feel unworthy. There is a lot of bullying that is happening in the workplace, and it's high time we are able to recognize that, okay, this is not right, this is bullying. Because it's a lot of time, and most times people remain at work being abused, but because they think that, okay, this is all I have, or I have no voice. You have a voice. Women have been abused at work, sexually harassed at work. It's not that you're not able to deliver as a woman based on your qualifications, but it's just an area that has been abused. Really, probably that's a different topic on its own. But it's high time every individual is able to identify and know how to stand up for yourself in the workplace, because things cannot continue, and we cannot continue in this day and age harboring abuse in the workplaces. And most organizations have put in place procedures on what to do in a situation where you're experiencing bullying or abuse at work. And it is important to every individual where you work to find out, especially those who work in big organizations, to find out what you can do, the ways that you can find help in a case that you are being abused at work. In those who work in small organization or the domestic workers, you are not to be left alone as well. There are ways as well that you can find ways to get help if your boss is abusive, because that is another area that a lot of people are suffering, but it shouldn't be so. Just treat another person with respect. Like I said in the previous videos, every individual is important. God has created each and every one of us in his own image and likeness, so they have to be treated with respect. And the reason why you hire another person to help you, it is because you have realized that there are some things that you cannot do for yourself and you need somebody's help. So the fact that you need somebody's help, when they come to work with you, to work for you, respect them. Respect them by giving them time to rest. Respect them by listening to them. Hear what they have to say. Because some of us, we do not want to listen to people who work with us or who work for us. But as a result of failing to listen to people who work with us and work for us, a lot of people have run into problems when the person who is sitting next to you knew what was happening. And because you don't want to listen, you have closed your ears that, okay, I will not listen to this person who is below me. So as a result, they've just decided, okay, this person knows it all, so we'll leave them like that. For those who have domestic people who work for them at home, the domestic workers, you leave your children with that person, but you don't want to listen to what they have to say. They are spending probably most of the time with your children. They know your children better than you do. They're trying to tell you something about your child, and all you do is you dismiss them. You say you know nothing. If they know nothing, why are you leaving their children in their care? They know nothing. They're trying to help you. They know how your child comes from school, what they've said when they come from school. They want to tell you, but because you think, okay, because you have employed them, you know better, you dismiss what they have to say at the expense of your child. Can we relate with other people in a better way, please? And just as I was thinking, I was reminded of my favorite character, Abigail, in the Bible, in the book of 1 Samuel. Abigail was a wife of a rich man, Nabal. Nabal was rich, but he was a fool. He didn't know how to relate with people, with other people. Even his servants knew that Nabal cannot be told anything. So it happened that the men of David came and asked Nabal to give them food, and Nabal being a fool, he dismissed the man in a rude way. One of his servants knew that the way my master spoke to David's men, it's not good. It means disaster for us. And he went to Abigail, Nabal's wife, and told her what had happened and asked her to consider what she would do. What David had intended to come and do was to destroy the whole household of Nabal. Had Abigail not been someone who was approachable, that the servant could tell her that we are in danger here, they all would have been wiped off by the wrath of David. So it is important as a leader that we listen to people who work for us. We listen to the people who work with us, those who work around us in organizations, the teams that we lead. We have to listen to them. Do not just dismiss everybody, because one day you will dismiss them at your own expense. Listen to what they have to say. You don't know everything. You know something, but you don't know everything. So give other people the opportunity to speak. And another thing as well is some bosses, supervisors, leaders, they insist on doing things the old way. Probably a mature leader, you've been in the job for a very long time. You are hiring this the younger generation that is fresh from college, who are in sync with what is happening now, the technology. They are telling you that, you know what, boss, this system, whatever we are doing, this program can work better on the computer. You insist on still doing things with pen and paper. Because 20 years ago, when you started that company, you were always recording things on pen and paper. And you want to hire this new generation and leave them to work with pen and paper. And you expect them to deliver. Sorry, you need to move on and diversify. And also listen to the new generation you're hiring, what they have to deliver, what they can offer. Because you're going to remain in the olden days and write your things on pen and paper. And if you're expecting to work with international companies, how long will it take for your letter to get in the post and be delivered internationally or even locally? Whereas in this day and age, there's what is called email. They can send the documents through email and they can be delivered within seconds, and things can get moving. Be open to what is happening, to change. Do not just hold on to the past. Respect people. They have spent time in college if they're in a professional position. So when they come, do not look down upon them. They may lack experience, but they have the knowledge. So what you have to do is to help them get the experience without demeaning them, without devaluing them, because you can't expect them to come from college and have all the experience. So teach them what you want them to learn. Don't just criticize without teaching. Train them, help them to know. They have the basics, but teach them how you're doing things your way, what you expect to be done. When you teach them, expect them to deliver. If they fail, be patient enough, give them time to learn, and they will do things better as you are patient with them, as you teach them. As time goes on, you will find that you have a team that can deliver what you expect. Do not be someone who just say what I say goes. Things have to be done my way here, no other way. Your way is not always the way. There might be another way that is actually shorter than yours or easier than yours. So allow people to explore other ways as well, as long as they're good ways. They're not going to kill somebody. Allow people to do their way. And if you're working as a team, do not show any favoritism to any team member. Every team member has to be respected equally, to be treated with respect. Every person has to be treated with respect. I'm sure if we can understand that and implement that, every person needs to be treated with respect, no matter who they are, their qualifications in life, what they do. Respect every individual, because God created us in His image and likeness. He didn't create others differently, but we are unique, but we are all created in the image and likeness of God. So that was that for that part. Like I said, I will not go into details. A lot of us adults know the abuse that happens at work, but there are ways to respond to that abuse, and that's what I'm going to talk about now. The number one thing that you need to do when you are in a very in a situation where you feel that you're being abused at work, where you're being made to feel unworthy, being undermined at work, speak up. Do not remain silent. I've mentioned that in one of the videos that if an abuser is not reported, they continue. So remaining silent is like giving them the license to continue with the abuse. So speak out. I've said that in some organizations, they have put procedures in place of what to do, where to report in situations of bullying. Be aware of those procedures. Do not wait until something happens for you to start looking around. If you didn't know before, it's harmless for you to find out now, okay, what can someone do in a situation of abuse? That can come in handy for you or for your colleagues. And when you manage to report your case, do not be intimidated into silence. Because the people who can make you feel unworthy at work, they have their plan, their things planned out that, okay, I can do this, I can manipulate people in this way. But if you are sure that you're being abused, what is happening to you is not right in an organization, and you report it, do not be intimidated into silence or into withdrawing your case. Because doing so, you're not doing yourself any favor. You're actually lining yourself for more abuse. So stand by your word, stand your ground. Have the evidence of what you are saying. So that means you have to be recording what is happening and have witnesses, other people who work with you. They also should know what is happening around you, what is happening in an organization, so that when you speak about this, they will be able to be witnesses. And in some cases, if a person is being critical of what you do or your performance, ask them, how can I do it better? It might be that they are not really trying to demean you. Maybe that's the way they are talking. If you feel, or if you are not quite sure of what is exactly happening, try to ask the person if there's any other way, any other better way you can deliver, or you can do things better. But you have to be careful that it is really not a deliberate act when they are abusing you. In case you're thinking that, okay, this person may be right in what they are saying, maybe I'm not doing my job right, ask for help, and some people may be able to help you or assign another person to train you more. Don't always try to please people. That the boss tells you, or a person tells you that you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. You know that, okay, this is not what I have to do, or this is not part of my job here. Don't do it to please the person. Do what you have to do, or do not try to be another person. Because a lot of people have abandoned themselves in trying to be like the other person. You are unique. Be you. Do not try to be another person. Do not be dancing to another person's tune all the time. If it's not in line with you, if it's not in line with what you believe, don't do it. Don't try to be another person. You are not a people's pleaser. And you're not going to work to be pleasing people. And another thing as well, that do not try or do not retaliate. Do the right thing. If a person is abusing you or being mean to you, do not give it back to them. Because in giving back to them, you're turning into that same person who is hurting you. And before you know it, you start hurting others as well. So avoid vengeance. It's not our duty, it's not our place to retaliate. Because in trying to retaliate and retaliating, you're going to end up being like that person who is causing you grief. Develop yourself. Develop yourself. Be confident in yourself, in who you are. Remind yourself of the positive. Give yourself the positive affirmations. The Word of God, the Bible, has a lot of those things. They tell you that you cannot do anything. You cannot amount to anything. The Word of God says that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So do not let anybody or the word of anybody put you down. Raise your head up high and know who you are in Christ. What Christ says about you is what matters. Anyone who tells you otherwise, that you are not worthy, you're not good enough, you cannot amount to anything, it is just noise. Let it be noise. Let it not define who you are. Be confident in what you do. And as you're confident, as you show confidence in what you do, others have no choice but to support you. Reward yourself when you do well. When you succeed, reward yourself. Give yourself a pat at the back. Bonus yourself. Go buy yourself something nice. That way you encourage yourself. You'll be building your self-confidence. Next time you tell yourself that, okay, when I do this, I'll be able to reward myself in this area. Avoid the people who put you down. If a person is always telling you that you're not good enough and all this, criticizing you, making you feel unworthy, it's actually a burden. Why would you want to spend time with a person who burdens you? Why would you want to spend your precious time with someone who is always talking you down, putting you down? Even if it is a job, if it becomes too much, if you don't feel like you're still worthy, you're valuable, move on. Go and be useful somewhere where you are accepted, where you are acknowledged, where your effort is acknowledged and rewarded. Don't just stay for the sake of staying. Go somewhere. Sometimes you have to move on to remain sane. In some cases, you really have to ignore a superior, a colleague, a boss who is constantly insulting you or insulting others. That boss might actually have a problem of their own. They have their own issues that they have not dealt with. So they think they're doing well by criticizing other people. They think they're empowering themselves by taking power from other people. And you don't have to hold on to what a person like that says. Ignore them. Do not give them the satisfaction. If they say you're a fool, do not become a fool. Ignore them. And sometimes if you ignore a person who is constantly at your case, constantly putting you down, they will eventually give up. This brings us to the conclusion on the series, the people who are most likely to make one feel unworthy. Thank you very much for following and thank you for watching the videos. We'll talk to you again. God bless. Bye.